Downs is brought to you by Geico. Switch to Geico today and see all the ways that you could save.
First down.
Bears at Jets.
I can't with the voice. Go ahead, Key.
Yeah, I guess the question would be, can the Jets overcome the loss of Zach Wilson? What loss? The fact that they decided to bench Zach Wilson and move on with Mike White, that is what they want to do right now, and I think they can overcome it. A lot of information was coming out of Jets camp earlier this year to me that Mike White actually was the better quarterback, but because Zach Wilson was the second pick in the draft, they had to play him and give him the opportunity to show that he was worth that. But here's the key to it. The Jets are -6.5, -6 points, the over-under a 38.5. So I'm picking the Jets in this one. I think the Jets are going to beat up on the Bears.
Mike White is the better quarterback? That's what you're hearing? I mean, we're about to find out, right? Listen, if Mike White ends up being good for the Jets, then fine. They don't end up going back to Zach Wilson. But I hate this move by the New York Jets because the whole purpose of this season was supposed to be finding out whether you have your guy under center in the second overall pick in the draft that you took in 2021. We can't know that when he's in street clothes on the sidelines, Jay. That's not how you evaluate a quarterback. Now, all of a sudden, the Jets, because they're having a better season than expected, want to be winning games. And they think, I guess, a game manager and Mike White, a fifth rounder, is going to give them a better opportunity to do that. They're hoping to strike gold there. Meanwhile, they're going to end up going back to Zach Wilson and not, once again, knowing what they have in Zach Wilson because they ain't win a Super Bowl with or without Mike White.
Yeah, but Amber, sometimes situations change. And I just feel like for them being in the playoff hunt, for where they are, with where Robert Saleh, who's always struck me as somebody who's practical and reasonable, he's been in that locker room. I think he would see this is the opportunity for Zach Wilson, who, by the way, is not even second string, third string with the practice squad now. That says something about where he is. If Mike White gives him a better chance, I'm all for the Giants and Robert Saleh doing what's in the best interest for the team, not for the quarterback.
Second down.
Bengals at Titans.
Cincinnati -3, over-under is 43.5 here. I'm taking the Titans in this situation. When you look at this football team, they are starting to get into their groove running the football with Derrick Henry, a big pound and ground situation. I know a lot of people question Ryan Tannehill down the stretch. Can he deliver come playoff time, pushing the ball down the field? The last time we saw him in the playoffs, we remember the Cincinnati game. It gives us a little bit of a little bit of taste of sour lemon in our mouths. But I think he can, and I'm picking the Titans in this one.
I mean, which of these teams are we underrating more here, Jay? Because the Titans are strange. A lot of people thought that their window had closed. I mean, they've been a Super Bowl contender now certainly for years and sitting atop that AFC. And then Derrick Henry, the injuries to that entire Titans team last season. And a lot of people thought, all right, this is it. They trade away A.J. Brown. Like, this is their window closing. And then all of a sudden this season, seeming like, hey, D. Henry, first of all, ain't done. He's far from done. And the Titans, as long as he's not done, still have a real chance here.
It's like, which team do you like more? Look, I trust Vrabel's defense. I trust Derrick Henry. I like the style in which they play when they can control the clock. But I trust Joe Burrow more than I trust Ryan Tannehill to make plays down the stretch. And to me, when you have guys like T. Higgins, Jamar Chase coming back eventually, Joe Mixon coming off dealing with the concussion issue, I just trust Joe Burrow's ability to make plays when you need it more than I trust Ryan Tannehill, so I'll take the Bengals.
Do you, Key? You trust the Bengals more than the Titans right now?
I don't. I trust the Titans more because of what they have. They can run the football. They can play solid defense, and Vrabel can coach football, okay? Ryan Tannehill made some mistakes against the Cincinnati Bengals a year ago in the playoffs, but you can correct those mistakes. It was a tip ball off the hands of a receiver, interception, and obviously he gave one to Cincinnati, but you can correct that.
Third down.
Texans at Dolphins.
Now, it says that team
that
down south.
Is hilarious.
His team down south is -14. Is that correct? Let's assume it is.
It is correct.
Yeah, 14-point favorite.
The team down south is -14. Over under says 14. I don't think that is correct, but okay,
no,
whatever the case
47.
Is. Okay, well, 47 over under.
Makes a lot more sense.
The team down south.
Just say their name.
I said I'm not saying their name anymore. The team down south I'm picking, I believe they're going to take on the Texans, who just benched their quarterback at Davis Mills. They decided to go with the other guy instead. Miami's a good football team. They're fighting for this division with the Buffalo Bills. And there you go, the team down south.
You did say Miami.
No,
well, I didn't say the last part though.
I mean, Jay, this is a cupcake one, or at least we assume. I mean, it should be right for the Dolphins. But why does Keyshawn Johnson hate Tua so much?
Oh God!
You tell me, Amber. I mean, you tell me.
That is more interesting than talking about this actual game.
Way more interesting than talking about this game. It's like, what else does he need to do? Key, does he need to beat Aaron Rodgers and Josh Allen again and win his last 7 games in a row for you actually to
be in the MVP conversation, be the most accurate passer in the league?
Come on.
I'm just going to wait for the bottom to fall out of that team down south.
That's where it is.
Because I'm tired of you poking me, and now all of a sudden you got her doing the same thing.
No, you're doing it to yourself.
No.
See, Amber, this is why I told you before. Don't let him treat Tua the same way he's treating Kirk Cousins. Don't allow him to do it, Amber.
But, Key, why is the bottom going to fall out? Because, like, when we were talking about the Vikings and you made that comparison, a lot of people question the Vikings because they question Kirk Cousins' ability to win in the biggest moments, right? Oh. Why with this Dolphins team are you questioning it so much? Or what about Tua makes you question him?
I'm not questioning the team down south at all. What I'm doing is I waited until the season, and then now as they continue to play well, I'm like, okay, they got a good team. Now I want to see them go on the road in a hostile, cold environment and take what they do in South Florida and move to Buffalo and do that, move to New England and do that. Can they go to Baltimore, although they came from behind against the Ravens and won that game in the fourth quarter because the Ravens secondary completely dropped the ball in that situation? Can they do that? Can they go to Kansas City?
It's about cold weather.
It's about weather. It's about weather because
yes.
beating Buffalo in Miami apparently doesn't convince Key of anything. But if they beat Buffalo in Buffalo, New York, then all of a sudden Key's convinced.
Yes.
Well, I think teams from South Florida or the Florida area in general, when they go on the road to cold environments, their game changes. And so I want to know if that game can sustain in those cold areas. And I'm not the only person that feels that way about the team in the South or down deep south.
Fourth down.
Corner down there.
Our blood's thinner down here.
Packers at Eagles.
Packers at Eagles. Philadelphia is 6 and a hook, over under 46 and a hook in this football game. You know, the Packers have been struggling, obviously. I don't think they're going to get their mojo back going into Philadelphia against Jalen Hurts and company. I think if the Packers lose this football game, they might as well start calling the U-Hauls to start to bring and pack up their stuff so they can go on vacation after the season starts. It wouldn't be too early to start thinking that way.
Does Aaron Rodgers even care if they have to pack up their stuff and go on vacation? I feel like that's what he wants. Like, he'll go into the woods somewhere. He'll do his thing. He'll take whatever he's taking. He'll have some fun, right? I mean, Aaron Rodgers' entire attitude this season makes me question how much he even cares about what he's doing out there, frankly. And we saw some of the frustrations with him. We heard some of it even stemming back to training camp in terms of his receivers. I will give him credit here, though, because Aaron Rodgers has been driving me crazy the last couple of years. But I'll give him credit here. I do think that it was commendable that, Jay, he didn't come out and let us know about the broken thumb. In fact, stemming back to October, we were hearing that he had a hurt thumb. He had admitted on the Pat McAfee show that his thumb was quote-unquote hurt. He was asked directly whether it was broken, and his response was, it hurts. Well, obviously it does hurt because, in fact, it's broken. But I guess what I like about it is that he didn't want to use excuses. And to me, that's a vet move. That's a reigning MVP move where he is having a down season. Certainly compared to what we are used to from Aaron Rodgers. But instead of coming out and just letting us know, my right thumb is broken on my throwing hand, he kind of kept it under wraps this whole time.
You mean like last year, Amber, where he talked about his pinky toe?
Yeah, exactly.
You mean that one while Jason Pierre-Paul was playing with the torn rotator cuff? Like everybody playing through injuries. So, look, I get it. At the end of the day, though, look, the Packers are one of these teams that you're always worried about. Do I think they're going to make a playoff run? No. And do I think Aaron Rodgers wants to be there long term? The money would suggest so, but not what I've seen from him personally. But I still think they're one of these teams you just never know because Aaron Rodgers is A-Rod. You know what I mean? He could turn on when he wants if he can.
If he can. I mean, Key, it's a broken thumb. Aaron Rodgers says that he's had worse. He broke his index finger in college. He said playing through that was a whole lot worse than a broken thumb. Broken thumb seems problematic, though. Like, this doesn't feel like good news to me for the Packers.
No, it's not good news, and I'm sure it hurts like hell, but at the end, he's been able to play with it to some degree. He's had some laser throws in the situation, and then there's been other times where you look at it and you go, something's got to be wrong in these situations. Now that he's come out publicly and put it on notice that his thumb is broken now, what does that mean? That means can he get underneath the center? Do they have to stay in the gun? Like, what does that mean?
It's been broken since week 5, Key.
It's been broken for months, apparently. And by the way, he didn't actually come out and say this. I think it was like a Make-A-Wish kid that ended up, like he had told him, and then he ended up releasing the information or something, which is where we end up getting this from. But he had been on the injury report all this time with a hurt thumb, but we didn't know it was actually broken. Right?
Yeah, he's been able to play, though, so there's no excuses there.
That's true.